Let's go now to Perth and the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting where Prime Minister Julia Gillard has quizzed the Sri Lankan President about progress in his nation's post-war reconciliation process. President Mahinda Rajapaksa has been accused of war crimes during his government's final assault on Tamil Tiger rebels in 2009. We're joined from Perth now by our political correspondent Tom Iggulden. Tom, what was said by the two leaders at this meeting?
Well, the short answer, Tony, is we don't really know that much about what was said. We know the issue was raised. The Prime Minister asked President Rajapaksa for a progress report on how Sri Lanka's Reconciliation Commission is dealing with these accusations. We don't know what he said in response to that. Earlier in the day, the Prime Minister did highlight that Australia has been had a long-standing communication with Sri Lanka about these issues and has asked the President to look into some of the accusations and evidence that the UN's put forward.
Now, Tom, the Canadians have said they may boycott the next CHOGM in Sri Lanka if these allegations are not properly dealt with. So, do we know what the Prime Minister has publicly said about this? Do we know whether this was part of their conversation as well?
Look, all we have to go on here, Tony, is a statement from the Prime Minister's office, which is pretty broad. It mentions a number of things that they spoke about, including development assistance and some of the forum item agenda items here, rather in CHOGM. So we don't really know whether that was raised directly with President Rajapaksa, but we do know that Prime Minister Gillard has ruled out it being talked about here in CHOGM. She says it's not going to be on the agenda, moving the 2013 CHOGM meeting planned for Sri Lanka to another country because of the concerns raised by Canada.
Tom, what about this Foreign Ministers Forum, which seems to have the notion of stepping into troubled nations?
Yeah, look, Kevin Rudd spoke about that a little bit this afternoon. He says, look, there's been a two-day meeting leading up to CHOGM. This is the second day. He says it's been edging toward a sort of an early intervention type system for CHOGM member states who appear to be sort of struggling with their democracy. I think that's a shorthand way of saying heading towards like a coup or something like that. He wants CHOGM to get in early and start putting pressure on countries that appear to be headed down that road before anything drastic happens like a coup or anything else that threatens democracy.
And finally, Tom, the Queen... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and it appears from what Kevin Rudd said this afternoon that they may actually be getting close to an agreement for something like that to go forward.
OK, finally, Tom, the Queen has landed in Perth. What's on her schedule?
Well, tonight, not much. Look, she landed in the airport a couple of hours ago here in Perth. She was greeted by the Defence Minister, the Western Australian Premier and the Western Australian Governor. She's spending tonight having a quiet night at Government House. Tomorrow, I guess in keeping with what's been a pretty low-key schedule for her visit to Australia, she's going to visit the Clontarf Aboriginal College. And then on Friday, I suppose, is the main event in terms of her visit here, which will be the official opening of CHOGM. There'll be a reception for her, a royal reception later on that evening, Tony.
Thanks very much, Tom. We'll leave you there. Speak to you soon.
Pleasure.